Morning on this Sunday, November 17th. This is It Happened in History Today. I hope you like these tidbits. Please watch the whole thing if you can. Let's begin. In 1558, Elizabethan age begins. The story goes like this. The two half-sisters, both daughters of King Henry VIII, had a stormy relationship during Mary's 5-year reign. Mary, who was brought up Catholic, enacted pro-Catholic legislation and made efforts to restore the Pope to supremacy in England. A Protestant rebellion ensued, and Queen Mary imprisoned Elizabeth, a Protestant, in the Tower of London on suspicion of complicity. After Mary's death, Elizabeth survived several Catholic plots against her, though through her ascension was greeted with approval by most of the English lords, who were largely Protestant, and hoped for greater religious tolerance under a Protestant queen. Under the early guidance of Secretary of State Sir William Cecil, Elizabeth repealed Mary's pro-Catholic legislation, establishing a permanent Protestant Church of England, and encouraged the Calvinist reforms in Scotland. And then we have in 1777, we go back 200 years, Congress submits Articles of Confederation for the state's ratification. The articles had been signed by Congress 2 days earlier, after 16 months' debate. Bickering over land claims between Virginia and Maryland delayed the final ratification for almost 4 years. Maryland became the last state to approve the articles on March 1st, 1781, affirming them as the outline of the official government of the United States. The nation was guided by the document until the implementation of the current U.S. Constitution in 1789. And then in 1863, Confederate General James Longstreet places the city of Knoxville, Tennessee, under siege. After 2 weeks and one failed attack, he abandoned the siege and rejoined General Robert E. Lee's army of Northern Virginia. And we go on to 1969, the Cold War. Soviet and U.S. negotiators meet in Helsinki to begin the Strategic Arms Limitation Talks, otherwise known as SALT. The meeting was a climax of years of discussion between the two nations concerning the means to curb the Cold War arms race. And in 1972, in England, wealthy socialite Barbara Brickland is stabbed to death with a kitchen knife by her 25-year-old son, Atney, in her London, England penthouse. When the police arrived at the scene, Atney was calmly placing a telephone order for Chinese food. In 1968, kind of an uprising happened because during the game of Oakland Raiders and the New York Jets, they scored 2 touchdowns in 9 seconds to beat the New York Jets in the game in the last inning. Unfortunately, no one sees it because they were watching a movie, Heidi, instead. With just 65 seconds left to play, NBC switched off the game in favor of its previously scheduled programming and made-for-TV version of the children's story about a young girl and her grandfather in the Alps. Viewers were outraged. They complained so viciously that the network executives learned a lesson they'll never forget. Whatever you do, one said, "You'd better not leave the NFL football game." I remember that. It was hilarious and furious for people because, yeah, right at the end of the game, they just switched it off. No big deal. It's nothing. Oh my God, it was it was funny afterwards. Not at the moment. Let's see. Now to clean up. In African history, in 1869, Suez Canal opens. In art and literature, in 1839, Verdi's first opera opens. In 1958, the Kingston Trio brings folk music to the top of the U.S. pop charts. And in 2003, The Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I butchered that, I know, becomes governor of California. In 1980, serial killer and couple Charlene Williams and Gerald Gallego are apprehended. In 2003, USDC sniper John Muhammad is convicted. In European history, in 1889, Velvet Revolution begins in Czechoslovakia. Boy, howdy. I just got a thick tongue, I think. In 1973, Nixon insists he's not a crook. Yay. In Vietnam War in 1965, the 1st Cavalry Unit is ambushed in the La Drang Valley. And in 1970, My Lai trial begins. And there you have it. Tidbits from history. Things people probably should know because we seem to be repeating some of it. Anyhow, you have a good Sunday. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.